slide. This was pulled directly from DHHS, and also, and I'll make sure this is at the end of the slide and we can send this out, but the opioid settlement website has a lot of resources, and this was pulled directly from there. Unfortunately, a lot of state data runs behind, so this is from 2020. I'm sure we will continue to see this increase as we get the data from the following years. So our death rate represents about 8 people in McDowell who died in 2020 from an overdose. So that's showing on the low end, which anecdotally surprises me when I see that, and I think again we'll continue to see 2021 and 2022 will be staggeringly increased. I would be surprised if it weren't. When we look at ER visits, so how does this impact us, again, in the medical field? 911 call volume, law enforcement being called out and tied up, and then ultimately the ER or long-term care, and we are high in comparison to other counties in the state. 79 people that visited the ER for overdose in 2020. Again, I think not only is this data a couple years behind, I think it's sometimes hard to capture, did the patient come to the ER for an overdose and how they're documenting that. It's the same for us. When I go in and look at data, I'm like, I'm not sure if we're capturing everything, because it can depend on, you know, what the care provider's impression was, what their disposition was, and so we may miss some of those, give or take. But overall, we're showing high in ER visits for overdoses. That could be people coming in POV or by ambulance. So here's another one for me, I think comes back to or ties into this opioid settlement, how all this came to be. But when you look at how many people are prescribed opioids, this is part of the problem and really a source of how people become addicted to drugs. So in 2020, again, we fell high in this range. 7,921 people in McDowell were dispensed an opioid prescription. That could be something as simple as wisdom teeth removal, and you get a 5-day prescription for Vicodin. I don't have the statistics. I wish I would have thought about, our medical director at the state level has given some good information about the odds of becoming addicted to opiates just by having a 3 or 5 day prescription. It's really staggering. So this is where the danger comes in. Someone who's never had an opiate, they get a 5-day prescription, and then before you know it, they're addicted to opiates. And then they're going in, they can't source it through legal routes, and so they're sourcing it through street drugs. That's how a lot of this happens, unfortunately. So that was another concerning trend.